All right, very good then. Sorry for the delayed start here, folks. It looks like we had a late bus, so we just wanted to give an extra minute here before we get going. Here's what we got on the agenda for today. We are going to start off with a little bit of Quizlet Live because we are going to be having that assessment next week. Brain Pop video on the political party origins has a lot to do with what we are studying right now. There's stuff right out of the Unit 8 document that I am not only going to be explicitly giving you the answers that go in there, but I'm going to be showing you where you can find some of those other ones. And then we'll finish up with a little CNN 10. And gosh, that'll be it. We'll call it a Thursday. Sound good? Good? All right. Very good. Then when everybody go to Quizlet.live for me, please. Quizlet.live. We're going to start here. All right, here we go. And there's your spirit animals, and they're racing. Here we go. Round 2. And they're racing. Last one here, folks. And they're racing. Hello, sir.
You know,
Yeah, that's all right.
that's good for you. I got nothing first hour.
You have half the first hour?
I have nothing first hour.
Okay. Well, then we'll go down here after. Give me. Let's tell him 9 o'clock.
Okay, I'll reply.
Okay. Thanks. Very good. All right. Would you mind putting your iPads down? Well, except for you people that are online, but those of you that are in class, if you wouldn't mind putting your iPads down for just a second, we're going to watch a short video here just on the origins of these political parties. This is a quick 4-minute video. In that time, I'll just make sure that I'm walking around getting attendance and doing those things. Yeah, here we go.
And in closing, I'd like to thank the people of Toledo for all their support. You can bet that when I'm elected president, I'll be back here to catch a Mud Hens game, visit the Hippoquarium, and eat a Tony Paco hot dog. Any questions? Dear Tim and Moby, can you tell me how political parties in the U.S. got started? From Jamal. Sure thing, but I'll need my chief political advisor up here to help me out. Thank you. When George Washington was first elected president in 1789, there were no political parties. In fact, nobody even ran against him, not then and not when he was re-elected in 1792. Both times he won every single vote in the Electoral College, the body of representatives that officially votes for the president. Well, Washington was a unique figure. His military victories during the Revolutionary War had earned him the support of nearly every American. They also made him a respected figure on the international stage. Even the British had to admire his skill and dedication. Washington believed that political parties would weaken the strength and unity of the brand new United States. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. When Washington took office, he and Congress created the Cabinet, a team of 4 presidential advisors. Together, they were supposed to chart a new course for the young country. But they didn't always agree with one another. Take Thomas Jefferson, the Secretary of State. Jefferson owned a plantation in Virginia, and he believed that the country should be led by independent farmers and landowners like himself. He opposed a strong federal government because it would limit these folks' individual rights. To Jefferson, the best government was one that governed least. On the other side of the coin, you had Alexander Hamilton, the Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton couldn't have been more different from Jefferson. He was from New York City and had worked as a banker and a lawyer. I don't think he looked like that. Anyway, Hamilton believed that the federal government should be strong and financially independent. To achieve this goal, he set up a national bank, the U.S. Mint to physically produce money, and the first federal tax system. His policies favored northern merchants, investors, and manufacturers. To help push his plans through Congress, Hamilton reached out to his friends and also to business leaders from America's largest cities. My advisor informs me that these people formed the Federalist Party, America's first political party. To oppose them, Jefferson and his friend Virginia Congressman James Madison formed the Democratic-Republican Party. Yeah, after that, things started getting nasty. Pretty much every politician in America was forced to choose a side. As you might expect, the Federalist Party was popular in the North, while the Democratic Republicans were strongest in the South. In 1796, candidates from the two parties faced off in the nation's first contested election. Jefferson lost to Federalist John Adams in a close race. In 1800, though, Jefferson became president, and the balance of power tipped toward the Democratic Republicans. After Hamilton died in 1804, the Federalist Party slowly withered away. And with no real opponents, the Democratic-Republican Party broke into rival groups in 1824. Yeah, that eventually set the stage for the formation of the Democratic and Republican parties, which you can learn more about in our Political Parties movie. This is true. Throughout our country's history, lots of different parties have appeared and disappeared, but since the beginning, our government has been based on a two-party system. That means that for most elections, two parties tend to dominate the voting. So, are there any other questions? Oh man, am I really that boring?
Pretty please open up that Unit 8 document. Let's go, let's go. Okay, one of the things that it asks you to do in the Unit 8 document is to go Republicans and Democrat policy contrasting activity. Now, here's what I want you to do. Okay, now, this might be more of my pet peeve that I have with my beloved wife than anything else, but when it comes to how she feels about politics, she doesn't go, hey, what do I think about this? She goes, what does my party think about this? And then in turn, that's the way that she tends to feel about it. Does that make sense to you guys? I want to dispel that idea. I want you to try to not do that when you are taking a look, okay, at this document. Okay, so this first one right here, you're going to highlight which one agrees with you. Okay, which one kind of aligns with your view of how we as a society should handle this. Okay, the government should do more to help needy Americans, even if it means going deeper into debt, or the government today can't afford to do much more to help the needy. Highlight one of the two. Got me? Now, it's not going to take you guys a couple minutes before you figure out which side is Democrat, which side is Republican. Know what I mean? But even the staunchest, okay, even the most hardcore Republicans will have a couple of issues in which they go on the other side. Does that make sense? And there is nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's called being a critical thinker. Get me? Question. That was the second link under that Unit 8 document folder, and the title is right here. Nice.
I brought your keys. You can left mine down in the post office.
Got it. The other thing I want you to do is, if you are like completely confused on an issue and you're like, can you explain this to me a little bit? I would love to have a conversation with you about some of these issues. Got me? And I'm not going to steer you one way or the other. I'm just going to try to refine how both sides feel about a particular issue. So give it a shot, and I'm going to unplug the people online here, meaning you, if you have to ask a question, it will just be to me. So don't be afraid to speak up if one of these is kind of confusing, okay? And folks, I'm not trying to belittle somebody for aligning completely on one side or the other. I'm not trying to do that. But what I am trying to get you to do is to critically think about each issue. Does that make sense? Okay? Critically think about each issue. It's perfectly fine to have some on one side of the aisle and some on the other side of the aisle. That's fine. Does anybody have any questions at all about any of these? No, just need some more time, I'm assuming. All right, I'll give you just one more minute here, and then we're going to go on to the next thing. All right, so if you need more time on that, that is more than okay. But let me show you what you're doing with that. What are we going to do with that? Do I have to take a picture of it, or do I have to put it into any Dropbox or anything like that? And the answer is no, but what you are going to take is the information that you just learned, and you're going to synthesize it and put it right here. Okay, we're going to synthesize it and put it right there. And I'll explain what that means here in just a moment. So it says, how well does one of the two, excuse me, let me start at the beginning. Do now in schools, you open the political party comparison chart. We already did that. Add it to your notability. Already did that. Highlight color of your choice, which side you agree with for each row. Okay, cool. So how well does one of the two major political parties encompass all of your economic, social, and political beliefs? So here's what I'm trying to get you to say, folks. Okay, and let me see your eyes for this, please. Okay. Are you kind of realizing that socially you're more conservative but economically, maybe you're more liberal. Does that make sense? Okay. Do you think that we want to look at it social, political, and economic here? Okay. Or are you just kind of realizing like, when it comes to social, I'm kind of realizing I'm more liberal, or whereas I'm kind of more conservative with the other stuff. You guys know what I mean by those two things? Conservative is going to be more aligning with the Republicans' point of view. Liberal is going to be more in line with a Democrat's point of view. Good? Does anybody need help interpreting which side is which here? We're good? Okay, so try to synthesize what you just learned, okay, about yourself pertaining to these issues. Okay, folks. Good. So if you're not done with that, that's still okay. But why don't you check out this for me, please? Okay, this is the beginning of the 8.1 notes. Now, I took this directly out of the reading, but I'm showing you the answers here because I want you to know this part. Got me? Okay. How do we define a political party? What does it mean? Well, this is an organization made up of citizens who have similar ideas on public issues. And I took this right out of 10.1 from the reading. Okay. They allow for large numbers of people with similar ideas to get things done. They're going to nominate or select candidates to run for office. Okay, so it's up to the party to kind of nominate who they want to run. Anybody a fan of the show Parks and Rec? Nobody? Oh, man. Well, the political parties will reach out and say to somebody like, I think you kind of resemble our ideals. We would like to see you run. We think you're somebody that we could get, to run for office and that you do a good job. They will reach out and try to nominate those people. They take positions on public issues and work to get laws passed. They try to point out weaknesses in other parties, and they keep members informed and help citizens interested in their government and ensure that public officials do a good job so voters will re-elect them. Okay. Now, if you don't get all this written down right now, and you're kind of scattered because you're working on the last thing, that's fine. You can always access this via the Try3 Google presentation. Yes? Okay. So where do we get the rest of the notes for 8.1? Well, let me show you. So this part right here, like I said, right out of 8.1, and I'll put this screen back up here so don't feel like you have to get it all right now. But this next part here is still out of 10.1. This part is going to be out of 10.2. Oh, so where can I find those? Well, Interesting you ask. Let's go right back to that same folder that we pulled this bad boy out of. And you're going to see it right here. Okay, so here's you working on the document. You're in this folder right here. Okay, this is the one you have notability. This is the activity we just did. Here's 10.1. I got to relabel this. But here's 10.1, here's 10.2. This is what you're going to need for the first part of that 8.1 notes. This is what you're going to need for the other part. Good? Okay, so what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to give you about 15 minutes of work time to try to get those slides done. Yes? Okay, the other slides that you see on the Try3 Google presentation are what you are working on today. So here we go. Have at it. All right, those of you that are online and paying attention in the online world, do you have any questions for me right now? Otherwise, that is what your job is today. All right, if there are no questions at this time, go get to work on this. You have fulfilled your online attendance requirement for today. Make it a great weekend or don't. The choice is yours.